Hello, today I am bringing you the transits for today. And I'm bringing you this because right now we're expecting a decision on the part of the Supreme Court about whether or not the previous president, Donald Trump, has total presidential immunity. Is this a real thing or is this something else? And so I had previously done a reading, and I was very troubled to see within that reading that within the Supreme Court, there's a lot of deal making that has gone on. And this deal making likely includes Donald Trump and his total immunity. Now, that being said, I said before, and I think this is still true, he is not going to get total immunity. However, I am very suspicious and have been, and please refer back to my previous video if you should so desire to do so, that what was happening was that they're trying to figure out a way to slow walk this as much as possible. Why? Well, I have been trying to figure out for years, what is going on? Why are we even in this situation? Previously, we voted for presidents, we had elections, there was never such a mess that basically we believed that we couldn't work with the other side. This is rather a new development in politics. Previously, I think that during the Nixon, for instance, now I was just a very young child during Nixon and when he resigned, but there was more respect amongst the leaders in high places than there currently seems to be today. I don't think that this situation that we find ourselves in would have occurred back then, but something is stinky in Denmark. So where do we begin to understand this particular daily transit? And how is it do we find ourselves getting the answers to the situation we're in? Well, I'm a little troubled by some of the things I see. Basically, by the 6th, or excuse me, by November, when we hold the elections again, Pluto is going to be trending towards the 7th house, which means that we are in the process of being openly deceived. And I think we all know that. I think we all get that. And you can see this is ruled by Saturn, where the 7th house is ruled by Saturn. And Saturn, let's check the condition of, is in the 8th house in Pisces, where they're doing everything in their power to hide the facts from coming out. They don't want us to know what's happening. And so one of the things that I've been asking myself, I just will tell you, I have been looking at this energy since 2016. And I have been trying to decide what it is and why it is that we would bring someone on board that is so purposely incompetent in every way in leadership and make him our leader. And so I've had a saying the entire time, and I call it pin the tail on the Donald. And why am I doing that? Well, it feels like people in high places, particularly billionaires, know something or have some kind of an understanding that we, the commoners, do not. And so what seems really out of pocket for us is something they have direct knowledge of. So just don't forget that. There's more to the story, and they know the story. Unfortunately, they're not telling us the story. So what do we have here? You can see that this is the 12th house of hidden enemies. Now here's our open enemies. We know that Saturn is ruling our open enemy area from the 8th house, with both the moon and Saturn being in charge from beyond the veil. Something we don't see is happening to us. And it's largely deceptive. It's deeply psychological. It's psychological warfare in ways, okay? And who is committing this psychological warfare upon us? Well, likely it is the oligarchs. Here we have the sun ruling the first house within the 12th house within Cancer, saying that this energy right here is here to kind of put something to families that forces them into survival mode, because the first house is your house of survival in psychological astrology. This is the energy we use to basically see our way forward and basically survive all things. Your infancy, you're just a demanding, gotta have it, don't understand it, need support for everything. Okay, so, and this energy up here is it's saying that hidden enemy that sees himself or herself or themselves as family in the system spiritually, wanting to do something to us that involves money and has been deeply thought out. And you can see the connection back right here to this cusp and to Neptune, where it is saying in every way in Pisces, we're here to confuse things, to obfuscate, to keep you, the people, from understanding us, your partners over here. Yeah, you know we're doing this, but what we're not telling you is why. Why are we doing this? And well, that's the $1 million reason, I believe, why this election issue is so blown up and why we all are sitting here going, what's going on? And should I be frightened? I think what's happening is pretty straightforward. The Supreme Court has Alito, Gorsuch, and Thomas, all probably in up to their eyeballs in illegal activity. How so? They take money from oligarchs, particularly Thomas. They fail to report it. They could care less about being lawful. They are the wild, wild west of lawlessness. And they don't want you and me to catch on. But the problem is they showed their hand when they took out Roe versus Wade. Why am I saying that? Well, we're not in the Stone Ages. Women need bodily autonomy. Our health is completely wrapped up in our reproductive organs. And without proper reproductive health care, we are basically vulnerable to death, as is the unborn child. So this issue of Roe versus Wade is one of a ridiculous notion. And so what's happening here? Well, in every sense, I guess, is please move the window away from, okay, I don't know how to move it away, but all right. But so what we have here is a desire for some reason to shame women and our reproductive rights and our reproductive health. And that's an act of war. Just know this. It's an act of war. A war for what? I don't know. But one of the things that happens when we go to war is soldiers go in and oftentimes rape women and children to so deface their souls, to so dishearten their lives, that they almost win the war based upon that alone. And so what do we have happening here? Well, I would suggest that the three justices I named have mother wounds and don't care for women. 8th house moon in Pisces, and have an agenda, a bias, a particular slant in their angst that they're bringing to us. Now, I got to tell you, I was really frightened by all of this because for me, and I've mentioned this before, but it's worth mentioning again because we need to have dialogue, all of us. When I was younger, I got pregnant with twins, for which later died. And the amount of medical care I needed was unbelievable. I've had something like 27 hospital stays from pregnancy alone. So gives you some idea that things weren't going real well for me at all. And in addition to that, my sister, when I was in the end of my first trimester, beginning the second trimester, found me unconscious in my front yard because I was so sick and so dehydrated, and my electrolytes were so far out. I had gone outside to get air because I just felt like I couldn't get air. And it was raining horribly, and I passed out in my front yard. And my sister was coming to get me for a doctor's appointment. So thank God I had my sister there. But would losing the babies, this is something that sits with me, be viewed as an abortion? Because, well, quite frankly, my body wasn't capable. And I realize this is a ludicrous question on my part, but it's ludicrous to politicize a woman's body and a pregnancy and take away the sovereignty of a doctor and patient relationship. And that's exactly what they've done. They've made it political. So how does that factor in with 45? Well, basically, you've got an aging court that wants to further make its conservative moves for what? An autocracy. They want us to be under the thumb of the billionaire that controls our every move. So I'm having a lot of personal issues with this. I have a Taurus moon in the fourth house where I'm deeply aware of Taurian issues. And here we are with this energy in the eighth house saying, and I'm an eighth house soul, so I know this stuff here is going to say that there's restrictions to us right now, and they are beyond the veil, and we will not see the truth. So right here, this is hidden enemies, hidden energy. 12th house, high institutional hidden energy, where they are looking to take the group. And what are they going to do? Well, we need information. We need to know whether 45 is, by these court standards, immune and can kill Biden tomorrow because, well, he's immune from everything. And it's sickening. It is just sickening. This is not appropriate. It's not moral. And news to you in the Supreme Court, you are violating sacred, ancient laws. You can continue to deceive. And yes, you can continue to receive. Yes, we've set it up for you for sure. But no, your next lifetime, you likely will come back with nothing. And you will know nothing but all the hurt that you created upon this planet for the people that you've harmed. So just keep that in mind, Supreme Court. We know you're playing games with us. We know. We're not stupid. Yes, 34% of society believes in what you're doing, but it isn't 50 and it isn't 100. So just do keep that in mind. And with that, please like, share, and subscribe. And thank you for joining me here today.